Thank you for joining me today to see the admissions and recruitment solution on the Salesforce platform brought to you by Servio Consulting. So today we're going to follow along the story of Steven Student as he goes through the recruitment process to Servio Academy and eventually lead into an application to Servio Academy, and then also step into the shoes of an admissions officer and see how Salesforce and the Salesforce platform can be utilized to get a 360-degree view of the student throughout this whole process to better drive better engagement, not only to the academy, but also from the academy to the applicant. So we're going to start here on Salesforce Pardot. So Pardot is the marketing automation tool within Salesforce. It's great for being able to send out information to your constituency, whether that's applicants in this case, or even something like donors or advancement. The Pardot tool is fantastic at getting information out of Salesforce and into the hands of those who can better interact with you across many different departments. So the page that we're on right now is called a landing page within Pardot. So the landing page is something that can be applied onto your website and then used to bring in data into that Pardot tool to better drive engagement. So as we scroll down, all of this is customizable. So everything you see today in the solution is all point and click. The entire solution, none of this is custom coded. So we have a nice Servio Academy banner, some imagery, and then we were able to apply things like the mission statement of Servio Academy, really saying who we are, what we're about, to help drive engagement, get people interested, to then provide their information. As you can see on the right side here, we have a form. This form is customizable. So right now we have some basic information. First name, last name, email, who are you? So are you getting more information as the student themselves, or are you the parent? What is your graduation year? And then what are your interests, right? So this is all to help drive that kind of initial engagement, which will help us with segmentation lists within Pardot to be able to send more directed correspondence out to your applicants in this use case. So at this point in the story, Steven has found this landing page on your website, and he said, hey, this looks really interesting. This looks like an academy that I'd like to go to. So he goes ahead and fills out the information and submits. What happens when he submits is his data that we're gathering here within this form is then populated within Pardot. So when we tab over into Salesforce and we see the Pardot tool and we tab into the prospects, we're able to see Steven Student. As I click into the record, you're able to see some interaction history with Steven. So you're able to see how has he interacted with Servio Academy. In this case, Steven has visited the page a few times. He's filled out the landing page that we just looked at. And all of this is applying a lead score. Now, the lead score is an arbitrary number. When you're looking at only one prospect, it's just a number. In this case, Steven's lead score is currently 56, as we can see down here. Now, where you're really going to get value around the lead score in Pardot is when you start comparing it against the rest of the prospect pool. So if Steven's Student has a lead score of 56 and most of the prospects have a lead score of 10, we know that Steven is a good prospect and he's likely to apply to the academy. All of this can help drive what we do when we take a look at the engagement studio. The engagement studio is how we are able to establish a drip campaign, really a journey within this marketing for our prospects. Now, this isn't just one journey for one prospect, in this case, Steven Student. The engagement studio is our way of being able to take a full list of prospects, whether that's 100 or 1,000, and be able to all give them a unique path within the Pardot. So as we tab over to the engagement studio, we can get a better understanding of this unique path and more driven marketing towards the engagement from the prospect. So as we look at the engagement tree here, this engagement studio, we can see the start of the engagement. So the start, it's going to send out an initial email. It's going to say, hey, here's some information about Servio Academy, and let's see what happens, is really that starting point. It's let's see how these prospects are going to interact with this engagement studio and throughout the emails that they're receiving. So as we go down, Steven would have received an email. He would have received another email in 10 days, no matter what he did on this first email. And then we get to a decision. So within this decision, it's asking, has any email link been clicked? So within Pardot, we're able to track if that prospect has actually clicked a link from within that email. This link may be an apply section. This may be a get more information about Servio Academy. Either way, what's really helping here on that clicked link and the decision for that is helping drive the prospect score. It's helping drive that lead score that we have. Like I said, the lead score is arbitrary until you compare it against your prospect pool. So if Steven comes in, he doesn't click that link and he just blows off the email, his score is going to drop by 10. Now that dropping also brings him over to the left side of this tree. The left side of the tree you can think of as more of a nurturing path, right? So this is a way of saying these prospects have interacted with us, but they haven't been great leads. They haven't been leads that we really want to maybe build upon and really be aggressive about with our marketing. Now on the other side of the tree, on the right side, if Steven does open this email and he clicks on that link, his score is going to be adjusted by 10. And then within that link, you can tell he's getting sent to a form. So did he complete the form? If he completes the form, then go ahead and add 20 to his score. If he does not, then drop it by 20. So all of this is helping drive that score, which is really bringing Steven Student out of that prospect pool and signifying that he is a valid, good lead who's interacting a lot with the academy, signifying that he may very well want to apply to the academy. So as we go through this engagement studio and that score continues to rise or lower if he's not engaging the way that we would like him to, again, it's really just kind of pulling your valid, good prospects out of your total prospect pool so you can give them a unique interaction and you can drive more information to the people who really care about it, as you can tell by the score. So to follow along the story, Steven filled out that landing page, he filled out that form, he got some information about Servio Academy through the engagement studio. He's interacted with those engagements and he got to a point where he's ready to go ahead and apply. So Steven has gone through the Pardot path. He's become a valid applicant at this point. So the end of the engagement studio, what we would want to do is send an email that has a link to the actual community. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's send him the email. Steven received the email, he clicked that link, and he ended up within the Servio Academy community page for applications. Now, Salesforce communities are essentially a portal. It's a way of being able to show and gather data external to the standard Salesforce CRM while still being able to maintain a login wall so that you know who is doing what while they're within the community. So Steven would land on this Servio Academy page and he'd scroll through and he'd get some more information about Servio Academy. He'd see the history of Servio, he'd see the mission statement, he'd get some information about visiting Servio Academy if he wanted to, he'd get some information at Servio at a glance. All of this being customizable from within a point-and-click solution inside Salesforce. So imagine this page can be more or less anything that you want to show out to your applicants. It's whatever you feel best represents you as an academy. So in this case, Servio Academy has all of this information about who they are, and now Steven feels like he's ready to apply. So we'll go ahead and click Apply Now. From within the Apply Now page, we're able to give even more information. So now that we know that Steven does actually want to apply, he's got that information from Pardot, he got that information from the home screen of the community, we can now display more information to him about the specific task that he's asking about. In this case, again, that application. So we can put text on the right side here that says, what are some tips for applying? What should you keep in mind as you're going through the application process? Maybe even what is the timeline? So after you apply, what are the next steps? In a lot of application processing, the applicant fills out their application and they don't hear anything for 2 months. They're left kind of in the dark. The beauty of the Salesforce community is that you're able to display information out to your applicants. You're able to keep them involved and interacted and feel like a part of that admissions process. So when Steven is ready, he'll go ahead and click Online Application. And it'll land on this page with a form on the left and some more information, some important reminders on the right. The form on the left is our first example of a third-party product. In this case, this is Formstack for Salesforce. Formstack for Salesforce is a native form building tool that lives within Salesforce. What we mean by native is that the field mapping is already set up because the form lives within Salesforce. You develop it within Salesforce, not a third-party website. So all of your field mappings, for example, first name, last name, gender, birthday, race, all of these things are coming directly out of the contact, so there's no need to have a true integration for the third-party tool. Everything lives within Salesforce. So as we scroll down and Steven fills out this information saying he himself is filling this out as the student. He's entering his first name, last name, like I said, gender, birthday, race, and he's going through and filling out all of these fields. He gets down to some documentation. So the Formstack tool allows us to have document upload directly out of the community. So there's no need to have a separate email sent out saying please upload your documents to this third-party website. All of that happens from within the community. As we scroll down, we're also able to have document upload around essays. So we can prompt Stephen saying, with some essay prompts, like reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? Right? So this helps gather more information about the applicant. And as we keep going down, we're able to apply a e-signature to the application and also a CAPTCHA to help keep spam out. Now, just like the rest of the community page, this form is completely configurable for whatever you are trying to capture. So these data points that we're capturing today are simply an example of what an application could look like. Of course, every institution is going to want to gather different things, different data points that are going to help drive a better decision in the application process for themselves, right? So as we work through this, Stephen goes ahead and he applies to the academy. So the application is submitted. Now, if you're following along with the story, Stephen has gone through Pardot. He's filled out the landing page with the form. He's gotten those first interactions with Servio Academy through Pardot. Then he felt comfortable enough to go ahead and go into the academy, the Servio Academy community, and actually take a look at some more information about Servio. And then he felt, okay, it's time to go ahead and apply. He filled out that application. Now what, right? So like I said, from the community, we're able to display more information out to the applicant. We're able to help them and let them feel like they are involved in the application process. They're not just filling out an application and not hearing again for 2 months. That's where the application status page comes in handy. So from the application status page, we're able to show out the application to Stephen. So Stephen can log back into this community again because we're behind a login wall and see the information that he has submitted. So we can see all of these data points that he's put in either through the application or through conversations with the admissions officer. He's able to make adjustments. On top of being able to make adjustments, he's also able to see the stage of his application. So is this application completed? Has he provided all the documentation that he needs to for the application? And then also, has the admissions officer completed his review of the application? So does he know if he actually has been accepted or denied? All of that is possible from the community. So there's no longer a real need to have a paper trail of your application. You can handle all of that from within Salesforce, within the Salesforce platform. Lastly, following along the theme of being able to show out as much information about the academy as possible, we're able to have an events page on the community itself. So this demonstration is event management agnostic. So what I mean by that is that we're not selecting any one particular third-party event management tool, but rather leaving it open for any number of them. There are multiple on the AppExchange that we at Servio feel are very good products. The key difference is the little nuance between the event management systems. So we feel the best case for a demonstration like this is to show out the idea of event management, right? So from this event tab, we're able to show things like schedule a campus visit, schedule orientation, all these things that would be events. So through conversation, we'll find out what is the best fit for event management for you on the Salesforce platform. And then we can apply it in a manner very similar to this, to show the best case for you for event management, the tool that'll best fit your need. So with that, Stephen has gone through Pardot. He's gone through the application. He's taken a look at what his application status is. He's seen some stages, some status of where am I at with my application up until this point. So now let's go ahead and jump over and take a look at what the role would look like from the admissions officer. So now we are in Salesforce proper. What I mean by that is we're actually logged into Salesforce as a full Salesforce user, and this is our home screen. So let's imagine we're in the shoes of the admissions officer who's in charge of actually taking a look at all the applications that are coming in. So from this home screen, there's a lot going on, but that's purposeful. And the real reason for this is to be able to show as much information from one screen so you don't have to click around trying to find what you need. Now, of course, you can click into records. You can get more information about what we're showing on this home screen, but the idea of the home screen is to show a quick at-a-glance view of as much as possible, as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So on the left, we see the dashboard. The dashboard is a way of being able to group together various reports in chart form, showing you as much data as possible of what is going on with the institution. Where are we at this week, this month, this year, to show all of that data in one spot. So as we go through the top row here, we have an average score per state. So we're able to see, of all of our applicants, what state has provided the greatest value. In this case, it looks like Vermont has the highest test score. As we go across, we have the applications in stage. So how many applications do we have in total, right? And then of those applications, what stage are they in? So at a glance, we know there's 270 applications that are quote unquote incomplete right now. So we're still missing things. We're still missing maybe some documentation or some signatures from the student or parents. And then we have 257 that are decision in. So whether that's accepted or denied, we know 257 of our applications, maybe this year, this month, this school year coming up, we have 257 that have come in that we've already made our decision about. As we go across, we're able to see year-over-year statistics, so we can better forecast for, how are we trending, right? Are we trending towards a better applicant pool, or are we trending kind of down? Do we need to market a little better? So we're able to see our average test score year-over-year for 2018, 2019. And then as we scroll down, we see some advancement. So advancement is a great place to look forward thinking within Salesforce. While today's demo is primarily talking about admissions and recruitment, the advancement piece is a great next step for the Salesforce platform to be able to handle things like alumni donations, which we'll see when we look at Stephen Student's record here in a few moments. But we're able to see, over 2018-2019 school year, how much did we bring in? This year we brought $7.7 thousand. So maybe we have to do a little bit better to market our advancement department going forward to try to bring in more alumni donations. That, of course, we can use Pardot for. As we go across, how long has each donation been in what stage? So the average month to close here is 8.8 months. That's what we get out of this chart. So we know that from the time a donation is first initiated within Salesforce, maybe the idea or the conversation that happened, to the time that donation is posted is 8.8 months. So the idea is through this data and through these analytics, we're able to help drive that number down, right? And then we can use Pardot to try to get better donations in the door. Finally, what is our average amount of opportunity or donation month over month? So October 2019, our average donation was only $18.6, $18.60. But in June 2019, our average donation was $128.70. So we could see what are our best months, right? So we can help track and forecast what's going to happen within advancement. All of these charts are able to feed into Pardot. So we're able to take a look at, where do we really need to improve? Take the data points that we're capturing on, say, the contact, and help feed that to Pardot to better send out for advancement and alumni donations or test scores or the number of applications we're getting in the door. Maybe we want to get more. So the idea here within the Salesforce platform is being able to use one tool to feed into the other and vice versa. So in this case, Pardot is helping feed into the admissions community, but then the admissions community is also helping feed back into Pardot. So that's the dashboards. All of this, again, customizable. This is just an example of what we can do within the Salesforce platform. Now over on the right, we have this idea of today's tasks. So one of the big things that we find is that when you're using multiple systems, as a lot of schools are, it's not easy to keep track of what is your to-do list. Salesforce handles this for you. So within Salesforce, within this task object, you're able to keep track of what do you need to do. So in this case, we know that I have a task today assigned to me on behalf of Stephen Student. So I know it's in reference to Stephen Student, saying discuss Stephen's recent application. So what I can do is I can go directly to the Stephen Student contact, and I can take a look at all of the information about Stephen. I can take a look at the activity of what have we done, how have we interacted with Stephen up to this point. So let's go ahead and take a look at what exactly is on the contact page. So on the left side, we have our relationships. So let's say Stephen's already a student. We're able to see what courses is Stephen currently in. Maybe what grades is Stephen getting in those courses currently. We're able to see the relationships. So we're able to see who are Stephen's siblings. In this case, there's Cole and Abby, both also go to the school here. And then Joe. Joe is Steve's dad. We're able to see the address. So what are the current or previous addresses for Stephen Student? We're able to see some attachments, the application that we just submitted from the community, as well as the opportunity. So let's say we fast forward 10 years and Stephen has gone on, he's gone to college, he's gotten a great job, and he wants to give back to the academy because he feels the academy helped grow who he is as a person. So he's going to go ahead and make an alumni donation. So from this contact page, we're able to see, here's Stephen Student's alumni donation of $2,000 that he has coming up on January 17th, 2020. So the idea here is to get a 360-degree view of this contact of who are they, what do they represent, and what is their interaction level within the institution. All of that coming from this one page. Now down the middle here we have the contact details. Contact details are essentially fields. They're the data points about the individual, right? So this is who is Stephen Student. All of this is configurable, so you can capture whatever number of data points you need for the Stephen Student contact. Finally, over on the right, we have our activities. This is how you're going to interact with Stephen Student once he is in Salesforce. So before he's in Salesforce, he's in Pardot, and he's getting those emails from that drip campaign that we saw, but now he's actually a contact. So how do we interact with them now? So this is the next instance of the third-party product in our Salesforce solution for admissions and recruitment. Mowgli SMS. So Mowgli is a text messaging tool that lives within Salesforce, that lives on the contact page. When you send a text through Mowgli, the recipient, in this case Stephen Student, will receive this text just like any other. You can also mask or mirror a number you already use at your institution, so it looks like it's coming from you or from your institution. So as Stephen responds back to us, we're able to have that dialogue back and forth, maybe a more informal conversation. Maybe Stephen just has some questions about some application questions that don't necessarily deserve an email. They're just quick questions. Mowgli SMS would be a perfect solution for that. As we tab over, we see our activities. So log a call. Log a call is our way of being able to track the call as they come in, right? So you call Stephen or Stephen calls you, and you want to keep a record of this call. So then a week or a month, even next year, you can see, how often did we actually talk to Stephen? Maybe we run a report to say, of all of the applicants that came in that we actually accepted into the academy, how many activities did we actually do for them? How many calls did we track for them? All of that you can do from this activity page. So we're able to say, we had a call, and I talked to Stephen. Save, and you'll be able to see that call being tracked on the activities down below. New task. So earlier on the home screen I mentioned the to-do list. The task object is what drives that to-do list. So I'm able to say, I need to call Stephen on Wednesday. And I can set a due date. So I'm going to go ahead and set a task to call Stephen on the 16th. Because we're on the contact record already for Stephen Student, the contact is already related for us right here. So I can go ahead and save that, and next Wednesday it'll show up on the home screen to go ahead and call Stephen Student. Email. So like we talked about, Pardot is a great way of being able to forward email and automate emails, but you can also send off one-off emails directly out of the contact record within Salesforce. So as the admissions officer, if I had something I need to send to Stephen, I can email him directly out of Salesforce without having to go over to Gmail or Outlook. I can send it directly from this page. I can even do templated emails straight from this page. And all of that, the idea is to keep one source of interaction between Stephen and the academy. Finally, chatter. So chatter is a great way of being able to both take notes as well as mention other personnel or your colleagues. So I could take a note in the chatter and say, Stephen loves to play the guitar. So the idea of these notes within chatter is being able to store one-off, more personal things about Stephen, right? What does he like to do? What are his interests? That may not be a field on the details page. On top of being able to do notes, I can also add mention. So I can add mention individuals straight out of the chatter and say, hey Jacob, I think Stephen would be a great student here. Now Jacob will receive an email saying that someone had mentioned him. So with that, thank you so much for joining me on the admissions and recruitment solution out of Salesforce.